Welcome to this Masterclass Explainer. I am your Master Coach, and today we are going to adopt the exact lens of a Cambridge Principal Examiner to completely decode the types of business entity module for your AS and A-Level Accounting 9706 syllabus. Now, if you're deep into your prep, you already know that understanding the fundamental differences between a sole trader, a partnership, and a limited company is absolutely non-negotiable. But listen up, because today we aren't just going to review basic textbook definitions. No way. We are stepping into a dynamic digital studio to look at this topic exactly the way the grading examiner looks at your exam script. We are going to uncover the elite cognitive strategies, the hidden constraints of those tricky prompts, and the exact architectural framework you absolutely need to achieve the highest marking bands.
Okay, let's dive straight into this by looking at a massive, game-changing figure on our interactive smartboard. This single topic accounts for roughly 15% of your total marks in Paper 2. 15%! I really want you to let that sink in for a moment. In the incredibly high-stakes environment of Cambridge examinations, 15% is the undeniable, absolute difference between an average grade and achieving total academic excellence. It is literally the bridge between a B and an A star. Yet, year after year, I see incredibly capable candidates leave easy marks on the table. Why? Because they treat this topic as just a boring series of definitions to memorize, rather than a rigorous analytical framework to master. We are here to change that approach entirely today. We're going to break down complex, high-tariff sample questions, those massive 9 to 15 mark beasts, and show you exactly how to conquer them.
To secure those top marks, we're going to systematically break down 5 core areas today. First, the examiner's perspective. Second, defining core entities. Third, the method mark strategy. Fourth, deconstruct, solve, evaluate. And finally, top examiner warnings.
Let's start with Section 1, the examiner's perspective, to unlock the assessment mindset.
When you sit down in that exam hall, you aren't just regurgitating facts. You are communicating your professional competence to a senior accounting professional. To do that, we absolutely have to dissect the command words the examiner uses. This is a critical anatomy lesson. The way you answer a question that asks you to analyze must be radically different from a question that demands you to evaluate. Analyze means breaking down the facts to see how they interact. Evaluate means making a hard, justified judgment based on those facts. Similarly, explain just asks for clarity, but to what extent demands that you weigh conflicting evidence. Now, look at this quote highlighted on our digital board straight from the Principal Examiner report. Candidates consistently confuse key terminology. Always define terms before using them in extended responses. This means your theoretical architecture must rest on precise definitions, otherwise your entire analytical framework collapses. Highly technical students often rush into complex calculations without first setting the parameters of the entity they're discussing. If you write an extended response arguing for a limited company, but fail to explicitly define limited liability in your opening paragraph, the examiner cannot award you top-tier marks.
Moving on to Section 2, defining core business entities, the absolute foundations of your syllabus.
To really unpack this, I want you to imagine we're in a collaborative digital study suite right now with 2 of my top scholars. Let's call them Alex and Sam, and they're working on the exact same high-tariff question. Now, Alex is highly technical, incredibly fast at recalling formulas and facts. Sam is the creative thinker, brilliant at seeing the broader arguments. When establishing the core principle separating a sole trader and a limited company, Alex immediately pushes for a purely factual approach. Alex says, look, a sole trader has absolute control but faces unlimited liability. A limited company introduces the corporate veil, separating the legal entity from its owners. Done. Next question. But Sam jumps in and argues for a broader, conceptual perspective. Sam says, wait, Alex, the examiner wants to test the boundaries. When exactly does a growing sole trader hit the structural limit where incorporating into a limited company is the only logical financial step? And Sam hits the nail on the head. It's not enough to just list facts. You must be able to contrast legal and structural boundaries in real time. Notice how you must define these structural boundaries explicitly before attempting any complex problem solving.
This brings us perfectly to this matrix on screen, which brilliantly illustrates how successful candidates demonstrate competence across 3 distinct cognitive domains. Alex and Sam actually had a massive debate about how to unlock the top-tier marking bands here. Alex was laser-focused on AO1, knowledge and understanding. That's your descriptive level. But as Sam correctly pointed out, you cannot stop there. You have to push into AO2, which is analysis, and AO3, which is evaluation. Superficial breadth means knowing a little bit about everything, which is just AO1. Analytical depth means taking a specific scenario, like a partnership facing a massive cash flow crisis, and evaluating whether converting to a limited company to issue shares is actually a viable solution. In our digital study suite, Alex would self-correct here and say, so I have to move from what it is to how it works to whether it is actually the right strategic choice for this specific business. Exactly.
And to really solidify those AO3 marks, remember that examiners explicitly note that candidates who integrate causal relationships and cross-topic connections are the ones who hit the top marking bands. The syllabus is absolutely not a collection of isolated chapters. The choice of business entity inherently dictates the capital structure. That heavily influences the presentation of final accounts, which in turn completely impacts the ratio analysis. So if an exam question asks you about a limited company, you shouldn't just talk about the entity module. You should bridge your answer directly to equity, dividends, and retained earnings. That level of cross-topic fluency is the ultimate hallmark of an elite candidate.
Let's transition into Section 3 and see how this builds into our procedural framework, the method mark strategy.
Right before we solve the absolute hardest part of this procedural framework, I'm going to pause our session for a quick second. Crushing your Cambridge exams requires incredibly consistent strategy. So if you are getting value out of this breakdown, I need you to hit the subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels at the handle @AceTheExam_IGCSE. Turn on that notification bell right now so you never miss a weekly Cambridge breakthrough strategy. Okay, let's get back to it. Our scholars Alex and Sam are currently drafting a model response paragraph by paragraph on screen using the 5 steps you see here. But suddenly they hit a major roadblock regarding timing and paragraph linking. They've identified the key elements and applied the principles, but their analysis is a scattered mess and time is running out. This is where I step in with a crucial cognitive strategy to get them unstuck. I tell them, you must follow this strictly standardized processing sequence because examiners award crucial method marks for your logical reasoning even before the final answer. If your working is scattered across the page, the examiner literally cannot follow your logic to award you those method marks.
So out loud, we rewrite their flawed section together, showcasing a clear transition from a mediocre answer to a flawless, full-mark response. We take their scattered notes and align them with these strict presentation conventions. Practical application means you have to develop professional skills. Examiners are actively assessing whether you can communicate exactly like a professional accountant. We add the proper headings. We swap out their casual language for correct terminology. We use appropriate formats and ensure there is crystal clear annotation for every single calculation step. If you provide a brilliant set of calculations for a partnership appropriation account, but you forget the proper heading, you will lose marks. Your presentation is quite literally just as important as your calculation.
Now, a fantastic strategy here to ensure you never drop these presentation marks is to invent a quick mnemonic using the first letters of these formats and conventions. Under the intense pressure of a ticking exam clock, even brilliant students like Alex and Sam can draw a complete blank. Try creating a simple memory device right now for the sequence of a limited company's financial statements. Write it at the top of your rough paper the very minute the exam begins. It frees up your cognitive load so you can focus entirely on solving the complex problems rather than struggling to recall basic formatting rules.
All right, moving to Section 4, deconstruct, solve, evaluate. This is the critical analysis blueprint.
I want you to treat this next segment as an immersive visual workshop. Now look closely at this donut chart visualization. Notice how your final grade depends heavily on moving past the descriptive slice and mastering the analytical and evaluative slices. For our first interactive scene, imagine a complex data text excerpt pops up on your screen detailing a partnership struggling with a retiring partner. A 60-second visual countdown timer starts right now. Most students freeze. But you aren't going to freeze. You are going to step out of that descriptive domain where you just define what a retiring partner is and step firmly into the analytical and evaluative domains. You need to quickly assess the immediate financial impact on the remaining partner's capital accounts and then evaluate if the business can actually survive the liquidity drain.
As the timer ticks down, you must use this rigorous 4-step sequence to ensure your reasoning remains strictly evidence-based. Step 1. Break the data into logical steps. What is the exact current capital? Step 2. Solve systematically to find the precise financial impact of the retirement. Step 3. Check for reasonability. Look at your number. Does it make real-world sense for this size of business? Step 4. Make justified recommendations. This is the golden rule. Do not just offer an unsupported opinion. You must offer a recommendation fully justified by the numerical data you just analyzed.
Okay, scene 2 of our workshop. Let's play Spot the Flaw.
I'm displaying a poorly written student answer on our digital board. The candidate provides perfectly accurate math detailing exactly how a business will benefit from becoming a limited company. The formatting is flawless. The terminology is completely correct. Yet, the examiner brutally caps their score at a B-level band for that specific question. Ask yourself this critical question as we examine this common pitfall. What crucial step is missing when a candidate solves a problem accurately but fails to compare alternative approaches? I'm going to highlight and annotate the screen right now. Can you see the trap the examiner set?
The flaw is right here. Top-tier marks strictly demand that you evaluate alternatives and provide justified recommendations, not just accurate numerical answers. If the command word was evaluate to what extent, you literally can not only present the positive side, you must compare alternative approaches. Why might the owners not want to become a limited company? What are the drawbacks? Is it the loss of financial privacy? The significantly increased regulatory costs? You absolutely have to build a balanced paragraph that acknowledges the counter-argument and then synthesize both sides into a final, highly justified recommendation. That is your ultimate secret to unlocking those elusive AO3 evaluation marks.
Let's move into our final section, top principal examiner warnings so you don't fall into the traps.
These are the top 3 mistakes extracted straight from Cambridge Principal Examiner reports, where students literally throw away easy points. Back in our study suite, both Alex and Sam had major personal breakthroughs when they saw these. Mistake 1, forgetting proper format. We see brilliant numbers squandered because the candidate didn't structure the income statement correctly. Mistake 2, forgetting to check presentation. Sloppy handwriting and crossed-out working that is impossible to follow will bleed your method marks dry. And mistake 3, the absolute most fatal trap, answers not specific to context. Sam realized that writing a generic textbook answer about global corporations when the prompt is about a local bakery run by 2 sisters results in a score of 0 for context.
Let's synthesize this entire masterclass into 3 core, highly memorable pillars. To execute what you see on screen, extracting data, selecting the framework, and using clear notation, you need these 3 pillars. Pillar 1, the 3-step question scan. Highlight the command word, isolate the core entity, and flag the specific context. Pillar 2, the paragraph balance formula. Always counter your initial analysis with a valid alternative before making a final judgment. And Pillar 3, the last 5 minutes review checklist. Reserve time strictly to verify your headings, your terminology, and the clarity of your annotations. So the crucial point to take away is that executing with clear notation and highly specific context using these 3 pillars is your ultimate shield against those common examiner traps. Practice these exact steps and master the formatting. Take what you learned today and apply it immediately to a past paper. Remember, crushing Cambridge exams requires consistent, elite strategy. I want you to hit that subscribe button right now for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels at the handle @acetheexam_IGCSE. Turn on the notification bell so you get every single future exam hack we drop, and right now leave a comment down below with your exact target grade. Put in the rigorous, evidence-based work, and I will see you in the next Masterclass Explainer.